So, hi everybody. And as you see on the picture here, people have still not found my bag where every equipment is in. So we have to do it in this way. Sorry. But we can have a meeting anyway. So we usually start with a meditation. And we start with meditation now also. So we just sit, just sit comfortably. And just, so to speak, landing on this spot. And then we just notice how things are coming and passing every moment. We just leave it alone. We're not interested in anything specific. We're just sitting here, allowing the moment to be exactly as it is, not pushing away anything, not involving in anything, which means not interested in anything particular. Even thoughts are allowed to be here. They're a part of the meditation. We don't push any thoughts away, but we are simply not interested in them. We're just here, sitting here. Allow this moment to be exactly as it is. Not interested in anything at all. And doing absolutely nothing. And if emotions are rising, we just let them be. We just allow them to be here as everything else. We don't try to fix anything. We don't try to search for anything. We stop all searching. We're not even investigating anything. Everything is just allowed to be exactly as it is in the moment. Experiences, feelings, thoughts, whatever is here. Body sensations. We just let the moment be. Not interested in anything particular. But not trying to push anything away. Just let the moment be as it is. Sitting here doing absolutely nothing. If thought is grabbing attention, we just remember the instruction. We're not being interested in anything, not being interested in thoughts. But we don't push them away. We're allowed to be here as everything else. Sometimes the thought can be very interesting. It's not easy to maintain the instruction or not being interested. It is interesting. Then we have to go by one step further. Just say to ourselves that, okay, this moment, this thought is interesting. I had to admit. But I was thinking about it after the meditation. And this non-doing meditation, I'm simply not interested in it. I'm just sitting here, allowing the moment to be exactly as it is, doing absolutely nothing. Okay, we can take 1 or 2 minutes to come out of the meditation. So, for you who came a little later, this picture here, around this guy here, it's not because it should be some kind of mystical thing around. Oh, he's mystic. It's very much practical. But the web camera is not available because they haven't found my luggage yet. They still haven't found it since Istanbul. So we have to cope with this and hope that will, maybe one day it will turn up. We don't know. That's just how it is. So the topic we put on the websites is blaming. That is it's a kind of behavior that almost everybody can see that they have, but they're doing it, they're blaming. We're going to look at it a little bit more deep. What is it really? Blaming? Of course, we can blame society. It's quite abstract. We can blame politicians as a group. We can blame life. Quite big one. But if we start with the blaming on the individual level, most people maybe even have it as some kind of common feature in their behavior. So blaming other people for what they do and what they say. Now, what do you say to me? You know where I feel bad when I say this to me. Oh, why didn't you do it? You promised to do it. Well, why did you do it? So we are blaming each other very much. Always find something wrong with people around us. We're blaming them for all kinds of things. How they look, even. So what is this blaming then? What is it based on? When we look a little bit more deep, we will see that blaming is based on the idea that things should be in a different way from what it is. And when we are blaming someone, we have the idea in the background, even if we don't know it so consciously at the moment, the idea that the other one had a choice to not do that what they did and what we are blaming them for. Whatever that was, action or saying something or whatever. So it's based on the idea that there's someone there in the other one. If you take the individuals as an example first. Someone there who could have chosen to not behave in that way that they actually did, say that thing. But as we have been looking for so much here in these sessions, who is this one who is blaming? And who is this one which is blamed? Because it presupposes that there's a me, personal me, here blaming somebody else. Otherwise, there will not be any blaming. How can it be any blaming if there is no one to blame? We usually not blame children under 2 years old. Oh, he doesn't know. She doesn't know. We're not, oh, it's no problem, honey. No, we're not blaming them because we have the idea that they don't have any choice. But then when we grow up, and the idea of a me who can choose is planted in us from the very beginning, then the blaming as an idea starts to also to grow in us. Everybody has it. Because we believe that there is a choice. We believe that the one there, who we are blaming for something, had a choice to choose another outcome, to choose another way, to not say that, or not to say that another way or whatever, to not act in this way. But as we have been looking at so much, when we look for this me, this person me, who can be blamed, oh, he could have been differently, he could have behaved differently. When we look for this me, that we think is there by upbringing, we couldn't see it. And also we went deeper, as you maybe notice. Remember, as the one who has a choice, it means that there is another thought. They could have chosen another thought. But when we look at thoughts, we see that I'm not saying, I cannot see that I'm creating any thoughts. If you have a thought just now, you can just look at it. And can you say with total conviction, by investigating it, did I really create these thoughts which came just now? Or did it just arise? And when we looked at it in more detail in other sessions, we saw that we can't see that we're actually creating the thoughts, which means that we are not creating any decisions either, because decision making is based on thinking. So we don't make any decisions. And blaming other one for not behaving in a certain way or what they should have done and so on is based on the idea that there is someone who could have chosen differently. But if there is no one there who's creating these choices, because we have seen by investigating that there is no one creating any thoughts. So we are blaming someone who is actually innocent. That's not very nice, you could say, but it's built on misunderstandings. That's what we do in these sessions. We are clarifying misunderstandings. And one is that there is someone who can be blamed. But we can't find that one. That one who can be blamed is based on the idea that there's some kind of me here, some kind of personal me who is living, not in the body, really. We don't have the idea that it's in a certain place. I'm here, okay, but what is that here? No, it's some kind of creature here, some kind of entity who is living independently of the body and who has the power to create thoughts and making decisions and therefore can be blamed. But we can't see that one when we look. When we investigate, we don't see that there is someone who's creating any thoughts at all. And therefore no one who's actually making any decisions. Things just arise the way they arise. We could say, according to circumstances, maybe it's not really true, but we can say it in this context. As things are rising within us, thoughts and decisions, but we are not responsible for them. So to be blamed for having not done one thing that was promised to be done, And to be blamed for saying something that is said is actually not hitting the target. It's based on misunderstanding that there is someone there in the first place who can be blamed. That's one part of the picture. But of course there is more. Because it's also based on the idea that I am here. I am blaming you for something. So it's an idea in me here, it's an idea somewhere here that they believe to be true, that I am blaming him or her. But this me who is blaming, not the one who is blamed now, but the one who is blaming. Who is that one then? When it is seen that there is no one creating any thoughts, it's also seen there is no one making any choices. So the blaming is actually happening by itself. It's just that it is based on the misunderstanding that there is someone here who can blame somebody else. When it is seen that there is no one there to be blamed because there is no me there who is responsible for the actions and the thoughts and the decision coming, when that is seen and what is seen here, that there's no me here either, the power of this idea of blaming other people goes down. And in time, quite quickly, stops. Because there is no reality in it. No reality at all. It's based on ignorant thoughts about me who can blame another one. So what about blaming society or blaming politicians, which is quite often happening by many people? Well, it is another aspect. But they are of course connected, because when we blame politicians for saying something or not doing something what they promised before the election, we have the idea that things should be in a certain way. And this idea, of course, is also present in the first case with the individuals blaming each other. But here it is more clear in the case of blaming a group of people and so on, or society or life, which means that it is based on the idea that life should be in a certain way. We have been going through this also in other sessions. And the idea that life should be in a certain way, this shouldn't be like this, it should be in another way. Of course, according to my way. It's always according to my way. Even though the neighbor will have another way to propose, but the idea is there that life should be different from what it actually is. And this creates frustration. This is very stressful for us. We believe the thought that it should be different, blaming groups, societies, countries, whatever. Because life is what is. It is the way it is. And blaming them for not doing this, not doing that, it doesn't have any impact on it. It just is what it is anyway. And blaming each other is the same result. We are blaming somebody. It's just usually some kind of defense, maybe, arising from the other one. It's not my fault, or something, which is actually true, but we don't see it in that context usually. It just creates stress. We just create uncomfortable situations, not only in us, but also between us, in a group, or whatever it is we are in for the moment. And to understand this, that the blame is actually based on the idea of a person who couldn't do otherwise. There was no choice. And by becoming aware of this, it may be easier when the blaming is coming out through the mouth. That, oh, now this blaming is here again. And I am blaming him. But there is no him to be blamed. There is no I to blame. It's totally based on not knowing how it really is. Ignorance. This is one other way of becoming aware when we are blaming other people, or when the people are blaming us, of course, also. To become aware what kind of situation we are in, and to look at it a little bit more deeply, and how it would be if there is no one there to be blamed. So we can use this tool we are using when we see that we are blaming somebody else for something, what they say or do. We can use the tool. How will this moment be felt if I'm not blaming anybody for anything? This you can always use. Not only in the situation, but actually when you feel for it. If you have this tendency, because people are a little bit different here. Some people, they blame quite much. Some people don't blame so much. But somehow, most of us have some kind of tendency to this because we are trained to believe, to do it. So we can use the tool. So how will this moment be felt? If I'm not blaming anybody for anything, because there is nobody there and nobody here. Just let it sink in and wait and see what happens. Okay. So any questions on this? Or any comments or protests? Or whatever? Any other questions? Yes, Fritz. Welcome here.
Hi.
Hi, Fritz.
So, yeah, as you know, I had a situation with a neighbor here recently where there was a lot of that going on, and it's taken a while for that to subside.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you have any comments on that. It seems less now. It doesn't come up as often, but it's still there at times.
Yeah, but most of us, if we have this tendency, and most of us have this tendency, you just have to admit it. It's easiest to admit it. It takes a little time to change the thought structure to the opposite, because it's quite a huge change, because we have been brought up with the idea that people can be blamed for what they do and what they say. And suddenly we are saying here, in some corner of the earth, that is not true. Because there is no one to be blamed. There is no one blaming even. It's just a robot-like behavior that we have been trained to have. It's easier, instead of looking at ourselves, it's easier to look at than somebody else. Oh, he did the wrong thing, he said the wrong thing, and so on and so on. Instead of looking at ourselves, see that, oh, this is actually is about me. The blaming is not about the other one. The blaming is a very good point you bring up here. The blaming is about ourselves. And we have to admit it. We don't have to push ourselves down because of admitting it. We're just looking for facts here. Just facts. There's nothing wrong with anybody. Of course not. We're just looking for how is it really. And it is that there is a behavior in the society, in the whole civilization, of blaming other people, or groups, or countries, or gender, or whatever. So to become aware of this is what you're a little bit insinuating here. It's a process. It doesn't go away like this. But if we become aware of it once, there's a little bit of a seed planted in us. Or because we feel, maybe we feel better if we don't blame the next time. If you don't, because blaming is a thought, of course. So when the blaming thought is coming, there is an option. Should I go with it or not? Should I spit it out through the mouth? Or should I just see what it actually is? Oh, now it is a blaming thought coming. And it's in the beginning when we start to realize that it's actually about me here, not about the neighbor. And it's not so easy to just switch it off. But when we become aware in one situation, as I said, it's easier. Oh, but this is actually a change. I feel better. Instead of trying to debate it on the intellectual mind, it doesn't work. We believe the blaming of other people has been there for such a long time. It doesn't switch off like that. We can't go to a file. Oh, the blaming file, I had it now. Okay, delete it. Sorry, it doesn't work so usually. So it's about becoming aware of how I am really reacting, how I'm really functioning, and seeing that blaming is one of them, which makes our life not very comfortable at all. Because the other one also who feels blame, because we are in the society, in a group together here. Because the other one feels blamed, most people feel blamed when they are, so to speak, blamed. There's a part of this structure or behavior you have in our society. We have words for it. It's in the language. We're using some words for it. How could you? And so on. So when the other one, of course, feel attacked, feel offended. There's no friendliness there at all. And then the other may be counterattacking, defending him by counterattacking. Oh, but you did the same 4 weeks ago. No, it can be quite a long debate about nothing, actually, because it's based about the idea that there is someone there who can be blamed. And it starts with us. We can't change other people. We can't, but this now, while you're counterattacking me, you think there is someone here who can be blamed, but there is not. I mean, it doesn't work. So we can only go to ourselves. We can change ourselves, so to speak, by becoming aware that we have this blaming tendency, which we almost everybody has. And to become aware, and it is a process, yes. It's a process. And becoming more and more aware. So next time we are a little bit closer to its origin, if I may use that word, when the origin means that when it's arising, we see it a little bit more close to that. More quickly seeing it. And then we can become more aware when it is actually arising. And by doing this, becoming aware of this, because we feel that we don't feel comfortable with this. Why should we feel doing it then, if you feel uncomfortable? It's about coming to happiness. That's what we're doing here. So becoming more and more close to its origin, to its arising. And then one day it's not there. because we understand that even if we are not fully realized that there is no personal blamer, maybe that is a new English word, there's no personal blamer, then there's freedom, at least in that situation. Anything you want to comment on this, Fritz?
No, not really. I mean, it seems like though, well, maybe there is a comment. Okay. I've heard from people who have pets, for instance, that if the owner does something the pet doesn't like, the pet will retaliate by doing something obnoxious or whatever, like crapping in the bed or something like in their bed, some sort of retaliation. So is this just kind of an animal response, or how does that relate to what humans do? Because humans get even too. I've seen that. I've even done it a couple times. So any comment on that?
It's the same with pets. It's the same with animals also. We are blaming the animals. Huh? We're blaming the animals because we have been trained, and maybe we have trained them and they still go in the bed. Huh? So that's some kind of, you have gone through this training project here and you still go in the bed, so to speak. So we are actually blaming them also. Even if we don't see that they have the strong me that we have, that we believe that we have, but there is, we think that there is some kind of chooser there. We think there's a chooser there in pets also. You're on the backside of your villa, and you're having barbecue. You have one shepherd, dog there, and he's looking at this, of course. He's looking at it very much, and he's saying, "No, you don't try to grab that one." And then we just look at some other place, and then it just grabs it and run to the forest. we somehow we blame and not blame at the same time. That is how it is with animals. Can be other aspects. It's just one aspect here. That is, we have trained them to obey some rules, because we have some talking to them in some tone and so on. But at the same time, we know that he just want to eat. So we can't really blame him. But maybe we say something when he comes back. And of course, the dog, I don't know about the dogs, how we should talk to the dog to ask him, does he have any connection between he's eating the fantastic steak in the forest and the behavior of the master, so to speak, when he comes back?
Probably not.
Probably not. It's far away in time. It's history already. So we somehow behave towards pets as if they are a person, don't we? Maybe pets are different, of course. It's not the animals. I mean, dogs are more a little bit personal, than for instance, a turtle. We don't blame the turtle. So a little bit to do with how close they are to our behavior, to our way of functioning. And we usually don't. We don't blame cats either, because they are very independent, and maybe you can blame them, but not really blaming them. But dogs, we think that they are a person there somehow that could have behaved differently. Well, now you're doing it again, you shouldn't do that. Fy, or whatever. So it is same there, but the same ground, the same basis, the belief that there is some kind of person there who could make things differently, who could have chosen to behave in a certain another way. It is the same principle, actually. And believing, knowing, understanding that the dog doesn't have any person. We just want to fulfill its needs in some way or another. Then it's easier also to be with that dog. And the dog has an easier living in that with that master also, of course. It has an impact on our pets also, actually, our behavior towards the pets. I never thought about that before you said it. It just came. Something else, Fritz?
No, that's about it on that.
Yeah. It's quite an important subject because we are usually not aware. We're not aware that you are blaming others. It's only when you go in psychotherapy that we maybe learn the concept of projection. You know, we are projecting against other people. Or my problem, I put it over to my partner, so to speak, or whatever, whoever it is. But it's more than that. It's not only in that kind of situations, which is quite serious. It's a kind of part. It's a part of our general behavior that it is possible that we should also. And maybe it's even the ego gets bigger by blaming others. Oh, there's a foreigner's fault. You know. And you can even get some kind of credit for that, for that statement. You know? So it's in the whole society actually, and it's very good in what we do here to become aware of how we are really functioning, because that is what we're doing, of course, to see that blaming others is based on the wrong idea, that there is someone who can be blamed and someone who can blame. Someone else has any question?
I don't think anybody heard that. It blacked out for a moment.
Okay, so I'll say it again. So somebody else have any question? So we are sending from Poland today, Krakow. So if you want to, we see each other on Saturday from Dublin, in Ireland. Yeah. Maybe if we are lucky, this mystical aura will not be there then. If I get the suitcase, which was somehow lost in Istanbul. Okay, thank you very much for today. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanya.